Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vice President, Developer Relations and Ecosystems Development for BlackBerry, Alec Saunders.
Right. Thanks. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and welcome to BlackBerry Jam Americas. What a difference a year makes, eh? 1 year ago at this very event, we introduced a new mobile computing platform, BlackBerry 10. We gave you a toolkit to develop apps for the platform, and we gave you testing hardware to support your development efforts. And here's what you did in return. As of today, there are 120,000 BlackBerry 10 apps for sale in BlackBerry World. And you know what? 50,000 of those came in the last 4 months alone. And when you add to those the Playbook apps that you built last year and all the BlackBerry OS apps, we've got a total of almost 250,000 apps for BlackBerry World. Now that's major momentum. But apps are just one way to measure momentum. Another is the vitality of the community. How many of you have posted something on the BlackBerry Jam Zone in the last year? Lots? Yeah? More than a few of you. Did you know that in the last 12 months, there have been 91,000 posts on the BlackBerry Jam Zone, and they have been viewed a staggering 467 million times. How's that for engagement? Yeah. And what about the number of registered vendors for BlackBerry World? Last May, it was 39,000. Today, that number has increased by 77% to 69,000 in just 12 months. And another number that's really growing is sentiment. In a study from Pivot Point Research last year, 47% of developers said they'd recommend BlackBerry 10 as a development platform. And this May, that number is 88%. That's a huge shift. And then there's the recent study from Strategy Analytics measuring satisfaction with developer programs. And the results? Developers gave our programs the highest scores in the industry, an average 8 out of 10, and 39% of you gave our program a perfect score. Thank you. And then there's the Vision Mobile study that we saw recently. BlackBerry is now in the top tier of platforms, solidly positioned as a number 3 in terms of developer intent. And if you look at that graph, hot on Apple and Android's heels. So growing numbers of apps, growing sentiment, real momentum, real change. How many of you were BlackBerry developers 2 years ago? Yeah? Do you remember what it was like? I do. I was running a startup back then that built BlackBerry apps too. And let's just say that it was sometimes challenging to work with RIM. It's a new company. We're not RIM anymore. We're BlackBerry. And the positive results that I just told you about are the result of real changes at BlackBerry. You've heard me say before that we consider you our business partners. And you told us that we needed to do better, and we needed to fix a bunch of stuff that just wasn't working, so we fixed it. You said you wanted improved response times in the forums. You wanted sample source code. You wanted more user groups. You wanted more local experts on the ground. You wanted more resources. We gave them to you. We increased the size of our team from 37 to 151. We shrunk the average response times in the forums from 160 minutes down to 100. We went from no sample source code to 89 public repositories. And in addition, we ported dozens of popular frameworks, then contributed those changes right back to the core projects. And how about user groups? I remember when we were proud that there were 39 developer user groups. There are now 148 across the globe. And a lot of you are in the audience today, right? We gave you evangelists in the market as well, because there were no people on the ground. There are now 33 of them around the world. And when you put all of this together, 250,000 apps, growing sentiment, industry-leading developer satisfaction number, increasing resources, we are now the fastest growing ecosystem in the history of computing. We're 4 months into launch. If you compare us to where our competitors were at this same point in their launch cycles, we are over 100,000 apps ahead of them. Over 100,000, an order of magnitude more momentum. And that's due to you folks.